I like the Bible study part, but sometimes we miss out on the prayer. I think. So let's start off with prayer. With a couple requests we know of. David Underwood's daughter, no, David Underwood's cousin, Richard Clendenin's, had a heart attack this morning. So Dave and Marie aren't here. They've been to the hospital with him all day. It doesn't look good for him. His mom thought he was dead when she found him. The EMTs revived him, but it's not a good situation. That look like for. So I think Richard Clendenin, put him on your prayer list. Alan's not here. His daughter wrecked today, so he's with her at the hospital. Pray for her quick recovery. Apparently he drove her to the hospital, so it may not be when an ambulance ride. Apparently, of course, him and her are both kind of stubborn, so she might have a broken leg, and she said, "I'm not paying for an ambulance ride. Come pick me up." Yeah, it's it's a financial decision. I'm bleeding, but not that bad. I'd rather bleed in your car than an ambulance. It's going to cost more. Okay. We've got people traveling this week. Pray for them. Safe return. Pray for Bruce. Glad Braxton's not having any more seizures. Okay. Anybody? Yeah, they didn't want to make it public. And I respect that. A lot of people will tell you everything with medical things, and some things I just don't want to know. You just keep praying. And I know what they at one point they said if it's stage one and stage one, two different places, then it's a good. But if it's stage four, because of if it's spread from one to the other, it's not good. So I never got the never heard the results. He was supposed to start chemo today, though, right? 20 days start. He was supposed to start today. 20 days in a row, intense chemo, if I remember right. It's either intense chemo or it's not radiation, is it? I'm pretty sure. Starting today, it's 20 days in a row. Treatments. Okay. All right. Anybody else got a request? Or? Yeah. It has to be PEIA, right? could be the best prayer. All right. Anybody else? All right, let's go to the Lord and pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to be in your house tonight. Lord, thankful we can come to you. You said where 2 or 3 gather together in my name, you'd be in the midst. And we're thankful that you meet with us every week. And I pray that we know that you hear and answer the prayers, Lord. I pray for David's cousin, for your will to be accomplished there with a healing or grace for his mom. Pray for Alan and his daughter and the situation there, for your will to be accomplished. Pray for our friends that are traveling, keep them safe. I pray especially tonight for Bruce, that you give him healing, Lord, beyond what any doctors could expect, or what they could, beyond what they can take credit for. I know that they'll do everything they can, but the healing has to come from you, Lord. We trust you for the outcome. I pray that you give Bruce healing, you give Patty grace and Bruce grace as they go through this trial together. I pray for Michelle that you give her healing in her body, that she'll not have a bad reaction to this medication, or even better than that, Lord, if you give her healing completely, that she won't need the medication. That you will be accomplished in that situation. We trust you for the outcome, Lord. And, we know you know what's best. I pray that you'll work in that situation for Michelle, for Charlie and the family. Please bless in our classes tonight with the kids. Any lost kids that are here tonight, that we'll see them saved. And if lost adults, we'll see them saved. And I pray that you'll work in each heart, and I pray that you'll help us as we read your word together, that we'll grow in Christ and see what you can do through us and what you've done through other people. I pray that you'll bless in the study time together. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Okay, I'll get right into this lesson. I was about to 1 Kings chapter 15. As we go through these kings, we'll see a cycle that happens over and over, just like going through Judges. You can see with Israel rebel, they get in trouble, and they repent, and God would deliver them, and then they'd rebel again, and it's the same cycle over and over again. It's kind of went the same way with the leadership of the kings. There's only about 3 or 4 good kings, the rest of them were evil throughout all the history of Israel. David was the first, we'll say the best king, but after him was Solomon and Rehoboam, and each step was a step down. David, man after God's own heart, and Solomon, man of wisdom. Well, it wasn't exactly who David was. David still sinned, and sinned with Bathsheba and Uriah the Hittite, and God makes reference to that in chapter 15. But still, he was still a man after God's own heart, other than the one time he messed up and got in trouble. Solomon served God most of his life, got away from God and turned back to God, but then he went on down from there. Rehoboam didn't care about God at all. He had the silver and gold, had the nation, the leadership, the throne. He lost 85% of it. But Rehoboam's son, the Bible says Rehoboam was as the heathen. Rehoboam's son, Abijam, or some verses call him Abijah, was worse than Rehoboam was. And so each step down, when I'm giving this illustration where each step of the next generation usually centers off the extremities of what the previous generation is, but they go to the next one, and you get way over here, and this Christianity looks stuff like this Christianity back here. When I look at that, I say, well, does it happen all the time? It happens in almost every generation of new Christians, that when they come to know Christ, turn this thing on. When they come to know Christ, they're dead. They're hot after God. They want to serve God. They're excited about it. And almost always, the next generation just kind of take it for granted just a little bit. And the next generation after that, it's really not that big of a deal. And then the next generation, okay. Last week we talked about Josiah, because Miss Joe had asked about how can these kings that are 8 years old lead. We went to the story of Josiah and comparing him to Rehoboam and Jeroboam. Okay, in 1 Kings chapter 15, we'll start reading verse 8. We're going to talk about Asa. And Asa is the one when the generations went apart like this, sliding down like this. Asa is the only one to bring it all the way back here to where David was. Okay, like a man after God's own heart. 1 Kings chapter 15. Start reading verse 8. And Abijam slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Asa his son reigned in his stead. And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asa over Judah. And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem. and his mother's name was Maachah, the daughter of Abishalom. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. And so David was not actually his father; father was his great grandfather. And he took away the Sodomites out of the land, and removed all the idols that his fathers had made. Also Maachah his mother, even her he removed from being queen, because she had made an idol in a grove. And Asa destroyed her idol, and burned it by the brook Kidron. And the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, Asa's heart was perfect. That's a big word. Asa's heart was perfect with the Lord all his days, and he brought in the things which his fathers dedicated, and the things which himself had dedicated into the house of the Lord, silver and gold and vessels. Stop right there. Okay. So here's a young man that he knows the history of Israel, but he's brought up in this, I'm going to say use the word debauchery and idolatry or what's going on in their nation. He says it's not right. He can see things going on around him. He says it's not right, it's not right. And his heart is after God, just like David was. And he's one of the only kings that he restored, went back to. Josiah did the same thing as David did. He said, I want to serve God. I want to do something inside me that wants this more than anything else in the world. Okay? And Asa was one of those kings. He led that way. Even when his own mother, who was the queen, she had built an idol to someone, he removed her from being queen. Didn't matter to him who she was. She was still his mother. He's still respectful to her. But he's not going to let her sit on the throne as like a queen. And he's not going to have her. He burned her idol, trashed her own idol. He said, "We're not going to have that here." Okay. Two things stand out to me in this story. Look down at one of the first things he does. Verse 11 says, And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. He took away the Sodomites out of the land, and removed all the idols that his fathers had made. Here's a question. Took away the Sodomites. Why is the Sodomites such a big deal? Is it really a big deal? Like in America today, is it a big deal? Homosexuality. Is it a big deal to us in America? The news makes it a big deal. Okay? The TV shows, a lot of TV shows promote it. We don't have TV much in the house, but my understanding is promoted on TV shows and in the news media all the time. It's promoted, and so it's actually pushed. Why is that? Okay? If you look back to Asa's grandfather, look back at chapter 14, verse 24, back one page, and it says, and there were also Sodomites in the land, and they did according to the abominations out of the nations which the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. We kind of taught on that last week. Why is it such a big deal? Here's why. Once all the moral boundaries are removed, what's right and wrong, you can't decide for anybody else, and God can't decide for anybody else what's right and wrong. The nation immediately goes to idolatry. Okay? England was a Christian nation at one time. It's not a Christian nation today. Okay? The Muslims run half the country. Okay? Now some of the royalty may still be Christian. I have no idea. But once the moral boundaries are removed, and so you cannot say what is right and wrong, then who's to say you can't have an idol? Okay? With the education system, and no slur on the teachers, but with the education system that we've had, I heard someone talk about this yesterday on the radio, but for the last 50 years, the moral decline of the education system says there is no right and wrong. If you go back to when Miss Joe was in school, and when Carl was in school, probably the worst thing any kid ever did was chew gum in class, right? No one talked back to the teacher. No one brought a knife to school. If boys brought shotguns to school, it's because they're going squirrel hunting on the way home, not to use it in a classmate. Okay, and there was boundaries of what was right and wrong. There was no okay. Looking back on TV 50 years ago when I was a kid, I don't think there was any sodomites. I don't think there was any promotion of homosexuality. There was people looking back and we thought that guy probably was, right? I mean, there's people that, that guy, okay. And we found out later through a process of time that some of those people were, but it wasn't promoted, right? Like it is today. Like, and there's entire TV shows built around the fact that this person's gay, okay? And that gay is stealing the term of being happy for people that aren't happy, okay? So I hate to use that term. Right. It's okay. Sesame Street. Okay, kid shows, and it's promoted. And you think, how can that be? You know, I remember, we lived in my grandmother's house. I remember sitting in my grandmother's living room watching Kukla, Fran, and Ollie on Sunday afternoon. Okay, and they would show these movies, and it was just, but I can't imagine a Disney show or some movie when I was 56. When I was 6 years old, sitting there in my grandmother's house where all the kids are watching a movie, I can't imagine watching a movie that promoted something bad. Okay, and this promotes something bad. Well, Brother John, who's to say that it's bad? God does. We went through those verses last week. Okay, it's an abomination. And he goes through a list of a whole bunch of other things that's abomination to him, but it's an abomination unto God. And another verse says it's an abomination unto men. A survey came out today that is against. Yesterday there was I listened to this on the radio that about liberal men and conservative men, the difference between them. And liberal men. What's the right word for it? Accept the immorality, and conservative men say there's some kind of a boundary, and there should be a boundary, right and wrong. Okay. In the way that I think it's Newsweek that had it out, or U.S. News, something one of them, and the way they worded it made it sound like the conservatives were bad because they set boundaries. There's got to be boundaries for what's right and wrong. Okay, one of the kids were getting on the van tonight, and one of the family members, the adult family member, and standing in the yard as the kids were getting on the van, was saying, "You don't need all that stuff." Whatever the kid was bringing, okay, and the parents are always saying to make the boundaries, right? There has to be our boundary at our house is a little white fence. Kids can't go past the fence onto the road. It's real simple. Rule hasn't changed since I was a child. Didn't change for Rebecca. Hasn't changed for Josiah. You can't go out across that white fence without an adult. Those boundaries shouldn't change. Morally, they've changed. Okay, morally, we're becoming Sodom. Okay, when the moral boundaries are gone, when the lines are erased of what's right and wrong, there's no moral compass. It's not a condemnation for anybody else. We don't condemn anybody or accuse anybody. There's acknowledgement of what God's boundaries are. So the acknowledgement says there's things that God hates. Okay, He calls it abomination. Matter of fact, it's not just the sodomy that He hates. Turn to Proverbs chapter 6. Okay? Because it all goes hand in hand. Proverbs chapter 6. There's other things, as in Deuteronomy, we read that last week, where he talks about sodomy and immorality as something that He hates. He drove out the other nations before Him, before the Israelites. Proverbs chapter 6, look at verse 16. God said this: "These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are abomination unto Him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, and heart devises wicked imaginations, feet that be swift and run to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among his brethren." Wait a minute, Brother John. That says there's 7 things that God hates, and homosexuality is not in there, right? Deuteronomy says it's an abomination to God. It also says it's an abomination to men. But we read that last week where it says it's an abomination. Well, why does God put all these things? Why does He hate these things? Why does He hate pride? Are we not proud when our ball team wins? Is that the pride? It's okay to have pride when your ball team. Yay, we won. Okay, it's a competition. We won the competition, right? It's okay. But a proud look says I'm better than, and a better than says I don't need your rules. I can make my own. Okay. Proud look, a lying tongue. We know what's wrong with that. Hands that shed innocent blood. We know what's wrong with that. A heart that devises wicked imagination. So we'll go back to that. Goes back to the immorality thing. Feet that be swift and run mischief. A false witness speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among the brethren. Okay, that means sow discord. That means somebody has to gossip. We've known this in church for the last 40 years. Somebody that gossips about other people, talks bad about other people, so it's discord, divided people. That's worse. That's among the. It's in the hate list, just like sodomy is. Okay. Well, a lot of Christians, we don't. We joke about this sometimes. Sam and I and Rebecca have had this conversation before that sometimes someone will have a prayer request. Pray for so-and-so because they, and then they go and tell everybody what their sin is. Okay? Right? Right, Charlie? You heard their prayer request. Right, Miss Joe? Pray for so-and-so. He's really gone off the deep end. Okay? What? You know what that is? That's gossip. Okay? It's so discord. Okay? And it's the same. A lot of times we want to say, well, God hates that sin. He hates our sin too. Okay? He hates our sin in all these things. Okay? Shedding innocent blood, what's more innocent than a baby, right? In certain laws. Was it Missouri passed a law this past couple weeks about they're going to shut their lights? Yeah, St. Louis has the last abortion clinic in the state, and they're trying to shut it down by state law. Okay, because to them it's innocent blood that they're killing those children. Okay, and, well, God doesn't hate that. Yeah, He does. He hates it, just like the proud look and sowing discord. Okay, so there's things that God hates. Back over where we started in 1 Kings. He took away the Sodomites out of the land, removed all the idols from that his fathers had made. It's kind of funny. Whenever you take away the boundaries, idolatry pops up. Every time. When Moses went up on the mountain to talk to God, God was giving him the law. Line upon line, precept upon precept, giving the law. He's up there for 40 days. He came down. What was Israel doing? What was Israel doing when Moses came off the mountain? Worshiping an idol. What was it? Golden calf. And it doesn't matter what idol it was, right? They were listening to music. They were dancing around naked. They were listening to music that Joshua said to Moses when they're coming off the mountain. He said, "Sounds like a war." Okay. I hit the scan button on my radio sometimes when I'm driving up the road trying to find something. It sounds like war. Okay, I can see people take off the clothes and dance around naked with that music going on, and I think, okay, that's what Joshua heard and changed. Okay. If man has no boundaries, he'll worship anything. Man is created in his heart of hearts that he needs to worship something. If he doesn't worship God, he's going to worship something. Keep the boundaries. Kind of funny. So Asa destroyed his mother's idol. He destroyed everybody else's idols. He crashed everything. He burned a bunch of stuff. He burned his mother's idol. He burned all the idols that he could. Okay. He brought, verse 15 says, he brought money that his father had dedicated to his false idol, to his idols. He brought that money into the house of the Lord, and he brought in money that he offered himself. He started raising money. It increased the treasuries. If you read chapter 16, verse 16 down to 22, we're not going to read it. Israel, we're talking about Asa, Judah, the lower half of the nation. Okay, Israel, the northern northern kingdom, came down to fight against Israel. Okay, they started building a city right against the walls of, right just north of the border between Israel and Judah. So when Israel started building the city here, Asa took the money that he put away in the treasury. He sent up here to Syria to Ben-Hadad, and he said, "Make a league with me. I'll pay you all this money. Make a league with me and fight against Israel." And so he did. Ben-Hadad from Syria came down and fight against Israel, the northern kingdom, the northern part of Israel. So the king of Israel took all his men that were building this wall or this city to fight against Judah. They took all his men to go up to fight against Syria. And when they did that, Asa came up from Judah, took all the stones and all the lumber that they brought down to build a city to fight against him. He brought that and brought it back down to his nation. So he didn't lose anything by giving the money away to the Syrians. He gained because it's like buying all this building material. He built a couple cities down in his own land. Okay. With that in mind, there's something that comes to my mind. People that worship idols, have no boundaries, lose stuff. Okay? permanently lose stuff. I don't have anything. We don't have material stuff. But I see this as a process over and over again. People that have boundaries of what's right and wrong, and they worship God, they accumulate stuff. Now we accumulate too much junk stuff. We've got stuff. Everyone in this room probably has stuff you don't need that we can get rid of sometimes. Or we have yard sales, or people rent the building down here along 21 just because they got too much stuff accumulated. You got to put it somewhere. But the truth is, if we're worshiping God and we're doing what we're supposed to do, you can't outgive God. If you're worshiping God, which includes tithing, singing His praises, reading the Bible, and praying, and talking with God, having a relationship with God, and you have these boundaries. It's amazing to me how well you can do in business, or with these things happen. Okay, in my sales job, which I try to separate salesman John Jenkins from Brother John, Preacher John Jenkins. I try to keep them separated, but I can't. Okay? And in my salesman John Jenkins, everywhere I go, I run into business people that have boundaries, biblical boundaries. Okay? I was taught to them by their parents. Okay? When their parents had this center and they lived by these rules, they may have got over here for a little while and just tempted the waters and saw the ruination of life and saw their friends being destroyed. And most everyone got back over here and said, okay, I'm going here. Okay? You know what happens with these people that were brought up this way and they stay with these boundaries? Almost every one of them, you see success in their business. If they don't own the business, you see a happiness, a joy in life that they don't need idolatry, and they love the boundaries. Because you have a relationship with God and with people that's different than the people over here have. Because people over here have no boundaries whatsoever, right? People over here, they may even call themselves Christians, but they're 3 or 4 generations away from what Christianity is. They have no moral boundaries for what's right and wrong. And they can go to a rock concert at the Civic Center and hold up their lighters just like the heathens used to do at the Who concert, right? I mean, they could smoke the same stuff that the heathen do. They do the same drugs as the heathen do. They have no boundaries whatsoever. They worship the same idols as everybody else does. Okay? But the ones who see the boundaries for what they are benefit. The right and wrong is a benefit to them. Turn to Proverbs chapter 10, if you will. We'll end up at Proverbs. We'll say Proverbs rest of the night. Proverbs chapter 10. Charlie's testimony about 2 weeks ago said, single income household, and we got money left over. Why is that? Okay? We'll look at it and see. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 22. The blessing of the Lord that maketh rich, and he hath no sorrow with it. Okay? Read that verse out loud. Ready? The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he hath no sorrow with it. But I'm not Joel Osteen up here telling you this. Okay? This is scriptural. I'm not saying send me your money and you're going to get rich stuff. Okay? I'm not saying you're never going to have any problems. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. Sorrow comes by having no boundaries. And a lot of people over here get rich, but their sorrow multiplied with it. A good friend of mine that used to stand up and testify in church when we were at Canaan Baptist Church. He was within the boundaries. He was doing everything he was supposed to do. He got blessed. He used to stand up and thank God because of God's blessing on his life. Even when he was out of job for a little while, God provided everything for him. And I could recall his testimony. I could name him, his wife, his children. I could name everything about it. Somewhere over here, he decided to walk away. The blessing came with a great business. Okay? Lost his business, lost his wife, had over here and had all kinds of wealth. And the last time I saw him, he is abundantly wealthy, but sorrowful. Because when I saw him, he said, remember when we used to pick up the kids on the bus. Yeah, the joy is gone from his life. His wife, yeah, she works over. Yeah, sorry. How's yeah, I got this new car, but I don't have the joy I had back then when we were on the bus picking up kids. I got this, but I don't have the joy that I had. And this guy's a friend of mine. If he walked in the door tonight, he'd hug me and Tammy. Tammy, talk about. I'd hug him. If I ran him down Capitol Street today, I'd give Brother John, he'd give me a big hug. I'd go like this, go like, okay. I saw Travis this morning at the gas station. Travis is still here. Travis brought up here, tried this, came back to here, right? Everybody knows Travis. Okay? Blessed the Lord maketh rich, and he hath no sorrow with it. Chapter 10, look up at verse 4. He becomes poor that dealeth with a slack hand, and a lazy person becomes poor. But the hand of the diligent maketh rich. Brother John, you said you saying this comes back to riches. Now I'm saying it's a byproduct. The goal is not riches. It never is. The goal is not wealth. It really is not. But it's a byproduct of it. Turn to Proverbs chapter 3. My favorite chapter. Proverbs chapter 3, look at verse 16. The whole chapter is talking about wisdom. Proverbs chapter 3. look, I guess we'll start in verse 13 and read down through 16. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than gold, better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious. It's talking about wisdom as if it's a person. She is more precious than rubies, and all things that thou canst desire not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Really? Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths of peace. She is the tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. So, if I get this right, God says, I'm going to give you riches. It's really just a byproduct, and you really don't care about the riches. I was thinking about a friend today. He told me one time that his income was about $350,000 a year. That's pretty good income. But his income wasn't because he was here. His income was because he kept the boundaries. His income was, he was profitable in his business. He was sure that it was because he kept the boundaries and always was a witness. He never met anybody that he didn't talk to him for 10 minutes without witnessing it. Okay? And he talked about this business. And he talked about how good the business was. But only one time did he mention the income of the business. The rest of it was the Lord's blessing on his business. He wasn't brought up in church. He wasn't brought up to serve God. He got saved as an adult. He got saved as an adult because he was over here somewhere, generations removed from the gospel. He got saved over here because he was successful in business and was empty. And he was talking to his sister who was a Christian, and she says, "You know what you need?" He said, "What do I need?" He said, "Why do I still feel empty? I'm making all this money. Business is great. Everybody's happy. Kids are happy. Wife's happy. Everyone's got everything they need. Why do I still feel empty?" She said, "Because you need Christ." If I remember the story right, he was on the phone talking to his sister, knelt down and prayed, asked Jesus Christ to come to his heart and be a Savior. Which made him go back to he lived by the boundaries that he was taught, which were scriptural boundaries, but he didn't know they were scriptural boundaries, how he lived his life. And the blessings came. Okay. It's just a byproduct. Chapter 8, Proverbs chapter 8, if you will. I love that this again comes back to wisdom talking, okay? Chapter 8, verse 17. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. That means if you seek after God at any point in your life, you're going to find him, okay? You'll find his wisdom. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold. My revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness in the midst of the path of judgment. The end result, verse 21. Here's the end result. It's not something you choose and do, chase after. It's just what you get. That I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. Stop reading right there. Charlie, this is the verse I thought of when you said single income house. Michelle gets to stay home to raise the kids. You still got money left. How's that happen? On budget, you work at a Dave Ramsey every dollar counts budget thing that you can do online, and you work all that out, and you say, I don't know. Okay? Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's just the blessing comes. Okay? How come? Because the boundaries are there. And the idolatry is not there. If you center your life on the idolatry, I want to make myself happy by worshiping anything other than God, and you put anything between you and God, it's called idolatry. The idolatry is there. You miss out. You seek His will. Seek His blessing. Not the financial side of the blessing, just seek His blessing on your life and your family. It seems like almost everybody, the finances are there. The blessing comes in material ways. Sometimes it's in gifts from other people. Sometimes it's just promotion at work, whatever it is. Okay? Chapter 13, still in Proverbs. Chapter 13, this will be the last verse. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 7. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. Which one you want? The one who has great riches? Let's not talk about financial riches. David said, I was young and now I'm old. I've yet seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. Said David in his lifetime, King David, never saw a righteous man begging. Okay? But if you turn over the New Testament, you find Lazarus, who was a godly man, sat at the rich man's door begging. And the dogs came and licked his sores. He was a sick man. But imagine Lazarus was a happy guy. Contented guy. Okay? Riches aren't the goal. They're not a cure for everything. They aren't a cure for anything. Remember Lloyd Humphreys, our pastor, used to say, being poor is not a sin, it's just an inconvenience. But the riches aren't that important. But God says, okay, get rid of your idolatry, you'll have something left. Someone at work mentioned the other day about their son. He says, I make good money, I don't have any money. I make lots of money, I don't have any money. And the dad said, you spend $20 a day on pizza. That's your money. That's $600 a month. On pizza. Okay. Eat in. Don't eat out. Okay? The wisdom's there. Okay? The guy says, okay. Of the 1,000 homes that I've been in the Sissonville area the last 27 years, of knocking on doors, handing out tracts, witnessing people, I've never met anyone who was destitute who couldn't afford cigarettes. I never met anyone who was destitute who could not afford beer and cigarettes. And I didn't like paying for one of those 69 cents a pack. Cigarettes. Yeah. I smoked. It's under my growth, Started smoking when I was about 12. But John, can you smoke, go to heaven? Yeah, you probably go sooner. Okay. But I think, okay, you got something that's more important than food for your kids. Like Brother John says, the habit. Okay, whatever it is. Whatever that thing you place, the top priority is. Look, there's someone living in the boat. If there's somebody living in that boat, what's their top priority? Where'd the boundaries go? Was there idolatry somewhere, putting something ahead of God? Somewhere in that person's life? You can't blame parents. Can't blame society. Everyone wants to blame society. 15 years ago, everyone blamed Bush for everything. Tornadoes, hurricanes, whatever it was. Drug epidemic. Okay. 40 years ago, people blamed Reagan for the AIDS epidemic. Whatever. Today, we can blame Trump for everything. You blame whoever you want to. But the truth is, somewhere someone says, I don't need boundaries. I don't need somebody telling me what to do. Okay. I don't want to tell anybody what to do. I want God to tell me what to do. I don't like for other people to tell me what to do. It kind of makes my hair stand up in the back of my head even if it's really short. Okay? But the truth is, he says, here's the boundaries. Follow them. I'll bless you. And Asa is building cities to defend his nation because the money had treasure in it that didn't have before, because the money was all going out to the idols. Okay, any questions? What's an idol? Anybody have an idol? Miss Joe, those little figurines, those little dogs, you got all those little dogs in your house. They're not idols, are they? No, that's just little trinkets in the house, right? Yeah, okay. I like them. There's a house down here in North Charleston. As you go up the driveway, going through on 7th Avenue, up on the house goes up on a hill, has those gargoyles and the little statues on the pillars of the driveway. I like those things. Okay, Brother John, is that an idol? No, it's a gargoyle. It's a statue on a pillar. Okay, I like it. I like the Bigfoot statues. I see them all over the place. There's a place up in Buchanan that has them right there on the side of the road. You know, they're 7 foot tall. I want to stop and get my picture taken with them. I like to have them. If we ever get to build out Ripley and have a long driveway, I'll go put them at the end of the driveway to keep everybody away. Okay, just to scare people. I don't go back there. Okay, like gargoyles, the Bigfoot guy. Are they idols? No, it's just those statue things. Okay, there's the war memorial down at the Capitol has soldiers from different generations, different wars. Is that idolatry? No, it's memorial. Okay, it's not idolatry. Idolatry is anything we place before God. If you remove all the boundaries, and if a nation a society removes all boundaries of right and wrong, they automatically turn to idolatry. They go back to God. God says, okay, I'm pour your blessings on you. They come. Questions? Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. I pray you help us be the Christians we ought to be. Everyone is here tonight. Lord, I pray for us to be lost with us tonight. We'll see them saved. Thank you, Jesus, for dying on the cross for us and the wonderful life you give us. Help us to realize what you've done for us. In your name we ask. Amen. Thank you. You're dismissed. There's flyers for vacation Bible school. You want to take some with you, take them home. Take your neighbor's kids. Bring your neighbor's kids without telling their parents where you're going.